All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Get Bit Podcast, the podcast for nerds, blurs, everything in between. You got a fan, and we're here for you. I am God Awful Ugly Starship pilot, not me. The Starship is just God Awful Ugly. Pilot Joe Tonello. Hey, how's it going? Will is once again out this week because he is getting married next week. So, by all means, everybody, please wish him in the comments. Congratulations. Also, we can be found over at Google Podcast and uh, Spotify Podcast. Stitcher is no longer with us, so try to find us where you can. And let's get on with what we got going on. So, as usual, we are not going to be able to cover too many television shows and whatnot because we still are dealing with the SAG-AFTRA strike, which is now slowly moving into video games. That being said, I did manage to find some trailers that way that are not locally produced, meaning that they are not SAG-AFTRA, they're more international, or they are already stuff that are in production that can be safely advertised. So we're going to be looking at the new Miyazaki trailer in just a second. I don't know if this is the one, his retirement one, or rather his new retirement film. His previous retirement film was The Wind Rises, which is one of my favorite movie studio. But let me get that pulled up and ready, and it is already starting. It should be the internet. All right, let me mute it and let's get this rolling. The Boy and the Heron. And that was The Boy and the Heron. Don't really know what to make of it because Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki always leans into the very fantastical. So not a lot I can really dissect from that trailer, other than this is a boy who survived the Japanese bombings during World War II. Possibly, he's probably either the firebombing of Tokyo, I would imagine, and taken to the countryside where then fantastical things happen. Would be my guess based on the opening of the trailer, and then from there on out, it's not Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, where he just winds up in a fantastical world. We're not too sure what to make of it. I mean, it's Miyazaki, so we know that it's going to be of quality. The man just needs to retire. He just gets so he's notoriously cranky. You could see that quite easily in the documentary, the Castle of Dreams and Madness. And that's when he's trying to make The Wind Rises, which is supposed to be his final movie. And then, we had his son Goro come out with Tales of Earthsea, and then he came out of retirement because he doesn't want the Miyazaki name to look bad, I guess. He's a very hard man to work with and a very hard man to be around if you listen to the stories and hear the tales of the animation industry. He's brilliant. His artwork is gorgeous, but he is a very, very hard to work with person. So next up on our trailer list, see if I can't find it and get it going. So this is Moving. This is an international, I believe it's Korean. It can be currently watched on Hulu. Its own Korean superhero tale. And let's see what we got.
어머, 아빠, 저기 사람이 있어.
김두신의 블랙이오. 우리온프 조국의 공을 세워서 개인의 파워를 덮도록 하게. 이미한 월등한 오감의 소유자. 괴물이 아니면 죽어야지. 쓸모없는 거니까. 명심해. 넌 정식 작전이야.
언젠간 보여드리고 싶네요. 눈 내리는 날 하늘을 날며.
난 지금 내 비밀을 알려주고 있는 거예요.
능력이 유전된 게 맞습니다. 미안해.
들켜선 안 돼요, 절대로.
자식이 정원고등학교 다니나요?
당신들은 자식을 숨기려고 해.
왜?
누군가 삭제하고 있다.
반갑다, 괴물아. 나도 괴물이거든.
언제든 괴물이 될 수 있어.
난 내 방식대로 존재하겠다.
And that was Moving. Superhero tale based out of Korea. I looked, gave it a shot. It's already premiered. I believe it may actually already be fully done. It dropped August 9th. I'm just now finding out about it. I kind of wish I had known sooner. Gave me something new to watch. Honestly, I don't think it looks that bad. One person has flight powers. Another person has super acute senses and is a handgun user, meaning they're basically bullseye. And then it looks like we just got a little schmetterling, a little sprinkle of people with other slight powers. I saw electric punch and possibly more flight powers or telekinesis. I mean, I'll definitely give it a look. I mean, there's nothing really for me to lose. I think it looks decent, and Korea has been churning out some really quality content television shows, so this doesn't look like anything bad production wise. Let's take a look at our next trailer.
I don't know if this will get to you. I hope so. I can't go back in time and fix all the mistakes I made. But maybe I could leave something for the future. A legacy.
The world is on fire. I decided to do something about it. Hopes, dreams, ambitions. The mission is to protect their world and ours. We wanted Monarch to be instead of chasing monsters. If you come with me, you'll know everything, I promise.
And that was Monarch, which is the Monarch that is in the Godzilla Kong Monsterverse. I think that's what we're calling it now. Kaijuverse? Let's go with Kaijuverse. I always equate monsters to Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. So the Kaijuverse. I'm in two minds of this. I see this is going to be a flash forward, flashback thing where we're in modern times, post Godzilla versus Kong. And we're going to be with certain people and possibly back in the Kong Skull era timeline because John Goodman was shown and he was a major character in the Kong Skull Island movie. We do get to see some classic Godzilla monsters like the giant spider monster whose name escapes me at the moment. Most definitely we see Godzilla as he's, it's Godzilla. You're not going to be able to do a kaiju verse without Godzilla unless you're an Ultraman series. So, and even then it's got Godzilla in it like twice in the original Ultraman. Anyways, if it wasn't for the fact that it's Apple TV, I'd be wholly on board. But I don't have Apple TV. I don't plan on getting Apple TV. I am maxed out on my subscription statuses as services as it is. I'm just not going to take on another one. I will have to find means if you can't hear the air quotes. Because most definitely this does interest me. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. We all know that. I will say I'm looking forward to finding ways to watch it. Now, up next, we have the newest Mortal Kombat trailer. This is the reveal of Nadira, who is now played by Megan Fox, who kind of already did this role way back when she was younger in Jennifer's Body, so this is familiar stomping ground for her. She is already catching some backlash for this trailer, and I don't think people understand what a raw voice take versus a fully production voice take is. Like, if you listen to her when she's like doing the audio clip or she's in the booth, she does not sound great. But if you listen to the way Nadira talks, it sounds fantastic. And I am not the biggest Megan Fox fan. I do think she is slowly gaining a okay resume of acting. Like, she's doing decent acting stuff now. She's starting to be known more for acting other than just being the hot Michael Bay girl that she was originally introduced to us as. So let me cue up that clip and I'll let you guys choose for yourself.
I am Megan Fox, and I'm voicing Natara. She comes from this weird realm. She is a type of vampire creature. She's evil, but she's also good. She's trying to save her people. But I really like her. She's a vampire, which obviously resonates for whatever reason. It's cool to be in the game, you know, because I'm not really just voicing it. It'll be like, she's kind of me.
I'll steal the Tushan. Kill you with it. You are welcome to try.
You Outworlders believe yourselves so superior. As I've been doing the sessions, it does force me to like tap into areas of myself that I'm not comfortable. I've had a lot of fun doing it, and it's caused me to like be more free with myself.
What did you do with Jen's body?
Poor Kung Lao. You'll never see her again.
Mortal Kombat, it's just one of those staples. It's been around since gaming has been around. I think it's just like an opportunity that anybody would want, because we did all grow up playing the game, and it is one of the greatest video games of all time.
All right, so there we have it. There's the trailer. I actually did not catch what Kung Lao said initially when I first watched it because I didn't have the subtitles. I thought he said Jade's body, but now he's saying Jen's body. I like that that's a clever in-joke to Jennifer's body. Also, yes, my apologies. I said Nadira. It is Natara. That's on me. Mortal Kombat has a lot of characters, guys. Sorry about that. Don't cancel me. Don't mortal cancel me. I do what I can. I'm not really a Mortal Kombat player. I watch Maximilian dude play the game. That's about as much Mortal Kombat as I've done in a good while. I'm a Street Fighter guy, and before even that, I'm a King of Fighters person. So, anyways. So, moving on. We have a fair bit of news. As usual, I try to cite sources as much as I possibly can. All of the news that we're getting this week is video game news, and it's all being provided by Polygon. I'm just here to give my own thoughts about it. So we will jump right into it. First off, share. As soon as my computer wants to work with me here. We can edit this out at some point, hopefully. All right. So our first line of news is Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 I'm playing right now on my PlayStation 5. This is my first adventure into Dungeons and Dragons, outside of the movie and whatnot. So there was actually a bug where a lot of your companion characters immediately wanted to sleep with you. Like, it's almost as soon as you met them. The Mage Gale being the most notorious out of all of them. You say hi and he immediately wants to bed you. So it turns out that was actually a bug. And because of that bug, there was over, I believe, 1,200 lines steered away across the board from all characters that were meant to let you progressively romance a character and have other interactions with them and add other voice dialogue. And that got locked away by the bug, and they just defaulted to everyone in D&D is horny. And should immediately go to horny jail. So that got resolved, I believe, in the latest patch. Not with everybody. I mean, they're still trying to see who works with it and who doesn't. Karlach, the tiefling barbarian, I think she's fine the way she is. Same with Shadowheart, where they like hit on you, but it's not egregiously hitting on you. Gale most definitely turned down. Now I hear more about his cat than I do, or him winning magic items more than I do anything. I am currently playing a female drow monk, and I'm having a good bit of time. I usually also just play female characters in these types of games because they have more dialogue options. Go figure. Other than that, I'm enjoying the game. This is kind of makes me happy. I got waiting, got the game post patch. I would not have liked the game otherwise. I am not a big fantasy person, so this is really gonna have to like catch me with the writing and whatnot. So far, it has. Character interaction and world interaction has been very well done. I am new to D&D, so a lot of these rules really confuse me, and I do not know what I'm doing on these character builds to save my life. I am a level 4 monk subclass in the Way of the Four Elements. So basically, I'm an avatar. I'm a Last Airbender style avatar. But, you know, we got to keep things going. So next up, our next item of news. Kind of wish they would just let me, like, move to the next thing. Starfield. Starfield is now is basically like every Bethesda game. Not a lot to do in between travels, but once you get to a port, you can find a bunch of stuff to do. To the point where space travel is almost becoming like non-existent. I hear most people are just like fast traveling and only doing space travel solely for the resource grind. However, Starfield has a shipbuilder, and this covers 2 articles. So the first article is people, much like in Street Fighter, are building the best possible way to make a character. They're making a starship. The only problem is it is ugly as all sin. So, like, these things are unbeatable, but they are just like living nightmares of starships. Like, you would never see these things, even in anime. And there's a lot of starships in anime. We even had a steam train in space in anime, and it still looks better than some of these ships. But because people are so creatively designing them, they are probably the most functional ships out there and probably the most dangerous ships out there because of how people have figured out how to design it. So, you know, my hat's off to you. This is more my speed. However, I do not have an Xbox. So I've not gotten to try it. I wish I could. I just kind of think most games need to be all inclusive for consoles, you know, save for obviously the Switch because the Switch can't handle this. But like PlayStation and Sony just kind of need to play ball together. And then if they create a larger, wider market for everybody, everybody gets paid and games make more money much easier. That's how I really do feel about that. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, cue our next article. Now, the opposite end of this article, Starfield fans are also, because this is a shipbuilder, and we can do anything we want in the shipbuilder. Come on, work with me here. You're just gonna fits with me and make me mad, aren't you? So yes, if you were watching the live version, that is a Millennium Falcon. So Starfield fans are now also recreating not only Abominations, but they are just like throwing copyright to the wind and making iconic ships. So we are getting the Millennium Falcon, the Normandy. I wouldn't be surprised if Voyager and other starships are available in this game. Update on the Millennium Falcon build. More Millennium Falcon builds. Budget Falcon. Express is able to make the Normandy. The Pelican from Halo. So I made a Magic School Bus. Oscar Mayer Wiener Starship, you name it. People probably tried to build it. Well, we said people are very creative with they're given the ability to be, and this is no different. So, I applaud them. I hope those starships work out as well as the Abomination ones. If I was to build any ship in this, most definitely the Defiant, because I'm a giant Deep Space Nine fan. So there's that, or even just the Deep Space Nine battle station as an actual starship. Because we just went over ships that are complete and utter goofy abominations just for the sake of quality and whatnot. So why not make a starship that looks like a DS9 replica? Yeah, excuse me. So as I was saying, yeah, I would totally make a DS9 ship. I bet that would actually be quite useful in this thing. Moving on to our next set of news. The Jean-Claude Van Damme skin has finally been revealed in Mortal Kombat. Let me see if I can't find an actual picture. Outrage gated out of it, I think. So Jean-Claude Van Damme has been put in the game officially. We got to see a new trailer. He does all the same movements as Johnny Cage, has all the same moves and fatalities and brutalities as Johnny Cage. The only difference is just Jean-Claude Van Damme from his Bloodsport skin, from his Bloodsport movie and his voice lines. So we get to have some fun with that. I look forward to that. I don't know who many people are going to be doing it. I am still on the fence if I even want to get Mortal Kombat 1 or if I want to do what I usually do and just watch one of my favorite streamers play Mortal Kombat 1 instead. Unfortunately, my favorite character to play in Mortal Kombat is DLC, which is Ermac, and he does not visually look appealing at all in this game, so that kind of hinders my want of getting it. Like, no one else really interests me in the game at the moment. Maybe Smoke, boy band Smoke, but, I just don't know. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, this is one of those, it seems cool, but am I really going to have fun with it? Or am I just going to sit and wait until Ultimate Mortal Kombat 1 or True Mortal Kombat 1 or whatever we're calling it this time around? So, next up on the news docket, we are going to talk about Nintendo, because Nintendo came out with two very interesting stories. As soon as it pulls up. There we go. So we've been hearing consistent as soon as the thing shows up. There we go. So the Switch 2 is reportedly shown to developers at GameCon. I kind of believe this because we've been getting some steady rumors throughout the gaming world about the Switch being actively in development already, with the possibility of it debuting for winter or Christmas of 2024. This is the system that will more likely be 4K docked and 1080p undocked, as opposed to right now where it's 720 undocked and 1080p docked. Some people, they are reportedly saying that it may be able to run as high as ray tracing effects comparable to those of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Those are developer kits to get developers hyped. I do not truly believe that a Switch 2 can jump that high forward in technology and still maintain being a Switch. At the very least, as I stated before, I believe it to be a 4K docked and a 1080p unit undocked. Now, a lot of the systems are already running 4K and whatnot, but like the graphic fidelity and the things it would need to do, excuse me, long day. The things it would need to do to be stacking up to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X is just not very Nintendo, because Nintendo has never really been about graphics. They did that once with the GameCube, and after the GameCube, not really bombed. But after the GameCube had kind of lackluster start, Nintendo focused more on the gaming aspect rather than making sure the console could keep up with the other two. And Nintendo just decided to run its own race. I truly believe that's the case of it now and will always be going forward in the future. So the Switch 2 may be more powerful, but it's certainly, I don't believe it's going to be as powerful as the current generation of consoles. I just don't see that happening. If I'm wrong, by all means, prove me wrong. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong and apologizing and thanking people for letting me know, hey, here's the proof. Like, never have a problem with that. I'm always happy to learn, always happy to be proven wrong. And then following that up for last bit of news tonight before we shift into comics. Get that last bit of news. Zelda producer has said the Zelda team has moved on immediately from Tears of the Kingdom. There are no plans from DLC and will be moving on to the next Legend of Zelda game. I am not really surprised by this in the least. Like, Tears of the Kingdom, my little sister has beaten that thing completely. At some point, I'll be able to play it. I just have to get through Breath of the Wild, and honestly, I'm kind of playing some other things on the Switch at the moment, WrestleQuest and Sea of Stars. So that's just not really on my top of the list to play. Hopefully, Tears of the Kingdom will hold my interest a little more than Breath of the Wild, because that's the biggest problem I had with Breath of the Wild is it's too big, and the loop of Rome and find temples just don't really interest me that much. I'm an old school Zelda player, so I like to roam and find dungeons rather than just like many temples. And I know there are temples in Tears of the Kingdom, but there are also dungeons with some dungeon bosses. So that interests me a little bit more. That being said, I do know from my little sister completing the game that this is a more complete experience. There's just no reason for DLC. It tells a very full, very well told, very full story. It doesn't leave a lot of open end, loose ends out there for a DLC to resolve. So yeah, I can understand completely why they're moving forward from Tears of the Kingdom and not getting DLC. If it was up to me, and purely up to me, I would have the Zelda team go back and make up-res remasters of the last couple Zeldas, so Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, or remaster some of the just do the complete Wind Waker line. Get those 3DS title games in there. Minish Cap and Spirit Tracks and Wind Waker, and just make a big Wind Waker timeline remaster. I would love that on my Switch and or Switch 2. But yeah. So guys, that is all the news that is fit for the week. We're going to spiral over into comics as soon as it loads up. Present. Window. So, now that Night Terrors is over, DC Comics has reassembled and, or not reassembled, but gone back to their mainline thing, including letting loose some new titles. First and foremost is Birds of Prey. We get a new Birds of Prey team. This is written by Kelly Thompson. The Birds of Prey team this time around is Black Canary, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, Harley Quinn, Big Barda, and Zealot. Because since Jim Lee's at the editor-in-chief of DC, he refuses to let the Wildcats die. And since that Wildcats book is not doing that great from what I understand, we got to put Zealot somewhere, so let's put her in Birds of Prey. We can see that this is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Leonardo Romero, colors by Jordi Belair. I already like this book just solely from the art design because the art design reminds me of the old Ruby Spears cartoons and the old pre-Justice League cartoons. So naturally, this is about wanting to find Black Canary's adopted little sister, meaning everybody's in. Zealot's in, Barda's in, Cassie, I believe, is Cassandra, I believe, is friends with this person, and Harley just has a soft spot for women in trouble and needing the help. So definitely can recommend this. Brand new start. If you're an old fan of Birds of Prey, you may enjoy this book. I certainly enjoy it because of the artwork alone. Story is pretty good. Kelly Thompson does a solid job with this cast and crew. It's a larger book. I can definitely recommend it. Next up, we have Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is getting a new book. Hooray. I cannot wait for that. This is continuation of the current storyline that was last told from Blue Beetle Graduation. So we are just moving forward with it. This is written by Josh Trujillo, art by Adrian Gutierrez, colors by Will Quintana. This, like I said, this just picks up. So Jaime now has a Blue Beetle team, or a Beetle team in Dynas and Nadaja, the high armored gold beetle, and the size shifting green beetle. Meanwhile, people of Jaime's new city are getting used to having aliens, the Horizon, which are a sect of the Reach, living with them. Of course, prejudice just happens no matter what, so they will be dealing with prejudice, and Ted is dealing with his own problems because we are introduced to a red beetle who honestly kind of looks like a Psycho Ranger from Power Rangers. I'll give props to it. The design for the red beetle, which is not shown here, I mean, it's kind of in silhouette in the front cover, but we are very much hitting Power Ranger territory with this red beetle. But I dig it. I definitely say go out and check it out. Also, go check out the Blue Beetle movie. A lot of fun, very basic superhero movie, but a very fun superhero movie. And I think it really does need to have its due. I really hope this Jaime book continues moving forward at a great pace and has as much success as it possibly can, because Blue Beetle is always one of my favorites. It will always be one of my favorites. Next up, we got Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville. Because of some stuff that happened just before Night Terrors, Fire and Ice kind of did some stuff. Oh, also Elron is here. Fire and Ice got into some trouble, and Superman recommend, why don't you guys move to Smallville? So this is Fire and Ice and Elrond trying to make their lives in Smallville. We actually get a very nice introduction. So this is written by Joanne Starr with art by Nachia Bustos and colors by Tamara Bond-Villain. We get a nice intro from the girls here. The book itself it's really fantastic. I always say this, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta recommend this. I'm a huge JLI fan. Shag, if you're listening, Wahaha Podcast needs to cover Fire and Ice. Welcome to Smallville. It's just another extension of the JLI era, and I miss the JLI era. I miss being able to read a comic and laugh. It's just Fire and Ice trying to keep out of trouble, but getting into trouble in Smallville. And just stuff happens, and Elrond's there for even more comedic effect, as well as pie baking. So, yeah. Definitely do give this book a shot. I think this is only supposed to be a miniseries, but if we go out and buy it, we can make it a ongoing. Jumping over to Marvel, we got more Immortal X-Men. This is written by Karen Gillan with art by Paco Mendia and colors by David Carell. So this continues the awesome stuff. Let's just keep going. Selene and Sebastian Shaw are continuing to try and get Krakoa for its resources. Charles is having just none of it and kicking the ever-loving crap out of everybody that sets foot on the island. Meanwhile, Exodus and Hope are leading a cavalcade of pretty much the rest of the population of Krakoa, save for very few key mutants for other books. Across the desert somewhere, and Exodus, using his Messiah-like powers, has finally conjured a small paradise. And they happen to run into the female Mr. Sinister, whose name escapes me at the moment, who is being assaulted by Wolverine clones, which they have to take out, who do hurt some of the population of Krakoa, but things work out for the moment. Mother Righteousness. They run into Mother Righteousness. And then it just kind of goes from there, and we'll see where it goes. Immortal X-Men just continues to be one of my favorite books. It's so well written. Karen Gillan is just one of those new fantastic writers I trust wholeheartedly. He's like a Jed McKay. If I see him on the book, I'm gonna buy the book. It's like with me with Phil Noto as art. If I see Phil Noto is doing art, I don't care what the book's about. I'm gonna buy it for the art. That being said, let's move along. We have Spider-Gwen Annual 1 now. This is another thing of Contest of Chaos. Why am I covering this? Spider-Gwen and API representation, because Gwen is fighting White Fox from the Agents of Atlas and other new things. Honest to God, I do not care about the Contest of Chaos. I do think the smartest thing they are doing is making all these issues annual issues so that this doesn't interrupt the main line of the comic books. So this is written by Carlo Pacello, art by Rosie Campi and Marika Cresta, with colors by Irma Novella. This is just a new chapter in Gwen's life. She just got caught up in this, and Amy Hahn, the White Fox, is just caught up in this too. This is very much playing out like the Moon Knight issue, where it's a member of Tiger Division or Agents of Atlas, where it's now looking like it's mostly the Asian superhero force against World War II for two. When I say that, the previous ones were like Wolverine versus Spider-Man and somebody else. Anyways, Gwen and Amy fight through multiple dimensions, costumes constantly changing, and then eventually Gwen just like gives up, much like Moonlight, where they both recognize something's up and one of them needs to be the winner so they can find out what's going on. And Amy takes the fall being the champ, and Gwen comes after him. So, like I said, it's fine. As far as Gwen books go, this is fine because it's just continued Spider-Gwen, who's still a decent character. Just needs more notoriety and better storylines. She's doing a lot of weird, she just had her Clone Saga right after Miles has had his Clone Saga. And then she had Multiverse Gwen stuff. Spider books just do not have a great time right now. What can I tell you? But yeah, give it a shot if you want to know what's going on with Spider-Gwen, or if you want to help support API books and whatnot by continuing the ventures of Amy. Other than that, it's on here purely for those two reasons. I can't really recommend this, mostly just because it's tied to an event no one really knows or cares about. And they're doing the best they can to stall because of this was supposed to tie for the Agatha Harkness show coming out, but clearly that's not happening. So if you're interested, give it a shot. If not, I don't blame you. Scarlet Witch. This is written by Steve Orlando and with art by Lorenzo Tameta and Sarah Pichelli. Colors by Frank William. Wanda is helping the clone of her father, Joseph, who has recently reemerged, deal with some things while also simultaneously being summoned through the door of her shop to help out a frost giant who is the cousin of Loki. And Wanda and Loki have a truth off. That's the best way I can put that. So, art's fantastic, as it always is in this book. Storyline, pretty decent. It's just fun to see Wanda and Loki do some things. I still recommend this book. I'm still reading this book. I'm still loving this book. This Scarlet Witch book has been a lot of fun. It's kind of like a Marvel team-up book, except instead of Spider-Man or The Thing, it's Wanda. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked we haven't had Spider-Man or The Thing pop up in this book. But still, I enjoy it. If you're a big fan of the Scarlet Witch or Loki, give this a shot. I think you'll be happily surprised. And then X-Men 26, the Not Quite Wedding issue. This is written by Jerry Dugan with art by Jim Toe, Xavier Pina, and Javier Pina, and colors by Marty Garcia. So this is just giving us a heads up of what's really going on with the Hellfire Club, because Emma started the Hellfire Club under the guise as the secretary to Tony Stark, who is now the new Black King, as Hazel Kendall. Meanwhile, Wilson Fisk is now the White King. They are playing along with this, and Tony has to forcibly propose to Emma under the guise of Hazel to keep the charade going. Meanwhile, we see Kitty catch up and try to assassinate Firestar on Orchis base, while Firestar tries to convince her, hey, this is all Jean's idea. Don't kill me. This was the plan from the get-go from Jean. And says, just a long string run sentence to where Kitty's like, no, this is a Jean thing. You're absolutely telling the truth. Crap. I don't have anybody to kill now. So, good book. A lot of fun. This kind of makes me happy. This keeps on going and whatnot. I can't wait for next week so we see the actual wedding. If there is an actual wedding, I don't think there's going to be a wedding. I think they did this purely for the cover art of Emma in a wedding dress. But who knows? A marriage of purely arrangement between Tony and Emma could also further the story very nicely and cement his status and ways of getting his company back. So who's to say? And then we got Defiant. This is Day of Blood, Part 4 of 5. This was written by Christopher Cantwell. There we go. Not Cantrell. Cantwell. With art by Angel Unzeta and colors by Marisa Lewis. We finally get to catch up with Alexander and see what he's got going on. And Alexander has to fight his dad. Shenanigans ensue. Also, someone tries to nuke Cisco from orbit, but that doesn't work because he is the Cisco. This has been a fun first giant arc for the Star Trek books. Both the Defiant and the new Star Trek book with continuing Cisco's storyline has been nothing but fun. I still want I still want to cosplay that style of Starfleet uniform. Those are now my favorite Starfleet uniform. Then followed by Lower Decks because I'm a huge Lower Decks fan. But they're SAG-AFTRA, so we can't promote them on the show. I'm so sad. I want to talk about that show so much. Yes. So Defiant, like I said, we get to finally see what's going on with Alexander and Worf. We get to catch up with Cisco and see him use all the Cisco powers. And guys, that is it for this week. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Tune back in next week. We'll be covering next week's comics. Try to see what I can find for news, or we may just take the week off, depending on what news is available to find and whatnot. So take it easy, be safe, wear a mask. COVID's back up. I say this from working as a hospital employee. I've been very fortunate. Where I work, it's not that bad, but that doesn't mean it's not bad where you are. Please do your due diligence. Keep a mask. Get the flu shot if you can. That's available in some places. Other than that, don't forget, support your local comic store. If you can't get out to your local comic store, support your local library. They provide everything that you need. All you got to do is go get a library card. You don't even have to go to the library if you want. You can download the Libby app, which is linked to your local public library. You can check out an ebook or an audiobook if you can get it and have some fun with it. I know I have been. I've already gone to my local library. I've got my card. You've seen it before. It's the yellow card that says I read banned books, and I do. But for the Get Podcast, guys, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you next week. Later.